that is hot. Today, what I want to talk about is moving with intention. So, today's the first day of being 25, and the whole year of 24, I basically gave myself just to explore, discover myself, discover what it is I want to do, and learn about the world, how it works, and what I want to do with my time in it. And along the way, I've found out quite a bit about who I am and why I'm here. And now that I have that, time is very much of the essence, and there's nothing to be done but to do what I have to do. One of the big lessons from the past year, basically taught myself how to code with ChatGPT, with the LLMs as my assistant, is sort of the faster you try to go, the less you learn, and oftentimes the slower you actually go. So for example, if you have something you want to build and you just ask the LLM to build it, right? Like a big, spilled my coffee. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Moving with intention. The example I'm giving is learning to program with the large language models, basically as your assistant, is the faster you go, the slower you end up going, and the less you learn. And basically how that works is if you have a big thing you want to build, say you're building a new view in your app that does 3 things. If you tell ChatGPT, hey, I'm building this view that does all 3 things, build it all in one go, you're going to get some terrible code. And what I used to do was I would go back and forth with that terrible code and then just say, fix it, fix it, fix it. This is broken, this is broken, this is broken. And after wasting time doing it, I'd then break it down into smaller bits, more manageable bite-sized chunks, and the model would do very well with that. And the takeaway is to break the big problem down into those small pieces, very articulately explain what those pieces are, and then the LLM will be able to do them. So my job in all that is really having the clarity to understand what needs to be built and basically how to put the pieces together. That's very representative of where I am now. It's like, okay, pretend I'm the LLM, pretend that there's someone above me with the strings telling me what to do, trying to guide me to where I want to be. They're just like, okay, do it. Do what? Extremely confusing. So there's many different things that I'm working on that I actually need to do. We'll start with this one, is sharing my story. I think is extremely important, especially for the problem I'm trying to solve. It's very personal. It needs to be warm and friendly and not cold like many of the technologies and businesses we have out there right now. I think the storytelling component of this, kind of how I came to be here and why I'm doing this is really valuable. So I need to tell my story, and for a while I was doing short form content, basically just taking that prompt, being like, okay, go find people who care. It's like, okay, let me make spam content. That works for a lot of people, but it's really hard to connect through that. So no longer doing that, doing this, which is great. Beyond making content, there's building the app, building the website. So the 2 giant problems to be solved, and putting the blinders on and just trying to sprint towards that goal ends up with a lot of wasted effort. It's really now about what is the simplest step. And I know I always preach simple, but I haven't been doing it. So what is the simplest, highest leverage step to continue towards the goal, to actually get closer to it. And right now, it's just cleaning up the web app and actually getting people to use it. And I spent a lot of time productively procrastinating that by building this app and adding all these features that are just totally unnecessary. But that's just how it is, right? You spend a year exploring, you don't know what you're going to find, but I found it. Beyond the web app, it's customer acquisition. It's getting users on board. Another example, okay, huge problem. How do I get people? I don't know. I'm just going to start doing things. Whatever that first token in the LLM is what I'm going to do. And that was, let me message a ton of people on Reddit, on the Reddit acne thread, and see if they want to use it. It's just really low leverage, and it's hard to get a message across through a forum like that. The content isn't a good funnel for it, so now it's become crystal clear that it's essentially a B2B play. At least in the beginning, to prove to people that this works, we'll need to go to the experts and leverage their expertise and their trust. Trust is a big one. It's hard for me to establish trust on just a simple landing page. Why am I sharing my picture with you? What the hell is this? But if a dermatologist says, hey, here's your medicine, take a picture every day for the next 30 days and we'll see what happens and then reassess, then people are going to be motivated. Boom, beautiful, perfect. So really just simplifying down to that. The final thread that I need to work towards is fundraising, which really comes as a result of the other three. If I'm able to share my story clearly, obviously that benefits me. If I have a web app and a mobile app, obviously that benefits me. Show, don't tell, right? But then I can tell of the grander scheme, but show the first step. Great. Users, the biggest one. If I have just landed one specialist and they are using it with their patients and they're like, yeah, this is even just decent, that's it. It's a layup. We're set. So really the biggest unlocks right now, it's like, okay, the content creation is kind of passive. I found this medium to be a little better, reflect who I am better, right? But it's really those other two, cleaning up the web app, the user experience, the mobile app, down the line, we'll say. I think it'll be pretty easy to build at this point with the clarity that I've achieved, and then get those B2B users. Great. On the content front and moving with intentionality, I didn't plan what I was going to say today, but as a means of authentically expressing myself, it's much easier to do so with a longer format. So the past year I made a ton of shorts. Try this, try that, try this, try that, see what's going on. But really, at the end of the day, what I did was kind of sell myself short. I learned a ton about what it takes to make stuff, make content, put it out there in the world. But it's not really aligned with my identity. Even some of the most recent stuff with like the acne, eating ginger every day, for instance. It was just like doing for the sake of doing. It didn't accomplish anything. Where this, at the very least, I'm able to just speak to myself and funnel my thoughts. But beyond that, eventually be able to connect with people as I refine this, get better at it, figure out what the best pipelines are. For instance, do I cut this into shorts? Probably. What do I cut into shorts? I don't know yet. Got to get a microphone, maybe some lighting. Do I go into making a video with a topic in mind, maybe a script, maybe not a script, maybe like an intro script, some things I want to say. There's just so much room for growth, And obviously I'm at the very beginning of this, but it just feels infinitely better. Even if my YouTube videos get 0 views, it won't be that way forever. Really is it. Spent the last year exploring, doing a lot of things just for the sake of doing, figuring out what works and what doesn't. But now that I'm here, it's moving with intention. Time is so limited and there's so much to be done that might be even the most important thing to do is actually figure out how best to allocate time. Not like a 10-year like roadmap type of thing, but for instance, what am I going to do today? It's just polish the website, figure exactly how I want to come across to these professionals I'm reaching out to, and then start doing it. So it's really about refining the web app for them, and it's basically almost there. It's just slight modifications, but I think it makes a lot more sense. Continuing polishing up those accelerator applications. I did find it was really frustrating doing like the Sequoia one. It's like, why do you need all these questions? What's your plan to have 50xm users and 600 words or less? I just like, okay, I'm not applying to that. Maybe they'll invest in a Series C or something. That'd be a good thing. Cool.